All right, Nick. I said I was gonna wait till the half inning, and unfortunately for the Cincinnati Reds, we gave up yet another run. So 2-0 to the Red Sox, and we faced Crochet. We said it before the game. We're not going to put a lot of stock into the offensive output in game one, yet we find ourselves in the precarious position that we found ourselves in way too many times last year, which is 0 runs. So almost as stupid as this sounds, losing 4-2 today would have felt like ho-hum. Sounds stupid, but if we don't score a run in the ninth, I'm actually thankful they scored at least one more to make it 2-0 instead of it being another 1-0 loss. They all count the same. I don't know why, but yeah, I can't help it. And I also say, first time back, who knows if there's any technical issues. We'll sort through those as the season goes on. It looks as if my PC is trying to do its thing, but might be struggling as well. But we'll find a way, huh, Nick?
Well, it's good to be back, Trace. Year 4 of this. So, yeah, I don't want to save two. I don't want to, bring out my 3 points on this game right off the rip here and have nothing left for the actual post game show. But it's good to see you again.
It is nice to see you. Yeah, we got to be careful here. We get a little too far ahead of the skis, and we start talking about way too many things too fast. So that's a good call out by you. Another good call out would be I have some homage gear on. You can go to homage.com/cbox. They actually have an opening day sale today. You don't even need to use the code. You can go to homage.com/cbox. They got 20% off. You can get to find a whole host of things, including obviously this shirt. And it was a deal in which obviously in order for us to benefit from it, you have to actually go to homage.com/cbox. That's CBOX. So let me be very clear in saying that. But the real reason I decided to make that partnership happen is because I believe in their products, man. I don't know if, for those of you out there that have actually had homage gear, you know what I'm talking about. It's legitimate, really good stuff as we continue to implode here in the top of the ninth inning as another run crosses the plate, making it 3-0. But Nick, yeah, it is what it is. Can't do a whole lot about it, but it would have been nice to capitalize, and now we find ourselves in a position that hopefully we can I was going to say a bloop and a blast, but now it's going to be a bloop, and a blast.
Yeah, I would assume Chapman's pitching either way, even if like the Red Sox put on a couple more runs just with the off day tomorrow. Not that it matters because that's the third out of the inning. So
yep. All right, headed to the bottom of the ninth. Nick, I'll just tell you to change to the bottom before we get yelled at already for not having it correct. So we'll catch that in between innings. I have something else. I have a lot of things running. I am really pushing the PC here, so there might be some lagging going on, perhaps from a video standpoint. I'll get all that squared away before we do this yet again. I think the audio probably sounds crystal clear. In the chat, you're more than welcome to kind of point things out, and things that I might need to know moving forward. But I did have something kind of here waiting in the balance, Nick. I'm going to actually bust it out really just ever so quickly. It's going to be probably like a 5-second deal here once we get to the bottom of the ninth. For the first time maybe in my whole entire life, I actually asked for permission, so I am going to actually wait until I get permission to do this. But I just want to give a little sneak peek of what this could be if we get a yes. I can't go through all the work of making this set up and then just never showing anybody, so see. I know I'm making you nervous.
All right, big league tease there.
Is it? I think it's big league if we're being completely honest.
I like it. I'm still trying to remember where all the bells and whistles are on my end as well here.
It can be a lot. I am very concerned though that the way this thing is operating at this very moment, that if I were to go and hit record, because I was going to wait until it actually started. If I hit record, that this whole thing just blows up in flames.
Yeah,
we'll see. But nonetheless, maybe I'll just actually close out a few of these things that I know I don't need anymore.
Close out about 7 tabs.
Yeah, that might help. I mean, there's I got 2 of my own video feeds in here, so if I go black screen for a minute here, then I'll get myself back. It won't be much, but we'll see. Of course, the one thing I was going to showcase for 5 seconds actually was using that video source, but hey, we'll get it squared away. No problem. All right.
Chat, hope you're doing well. Good to see a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, it is nice.
Or handles or whatever.
All right. Now
we need one base runner to see the debut of Dane Myers. Benson's due up 4th, and certainly would not. I don't think Tito would let it bat against a lefty.
Well, you never do know, do you?
Barry giving some depressing stats.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of hearing that right this second.
I forgot that I could switch to the radio.
You can, and I switched to the radio, and unfortunately, it was like it wasn't synced perfectly, so it just.
They do that again.
I couldn't do it. It was like a whole pitch behind too. Like I could handle it if it was maybe a few seconds or something, but it was really bad. All right, I'm going to debut this, folks, and it's only going to be for about 5 seconds because I'm not trying to get us in trouble. So, but I do think there's a chance that maybe we get the ability to do this moving forward, or maybe we do it in the middle of June, not on actually opening day. But I do think it could be pretty sweet if this could be a real deal Holyfield thing. So you never know.
Ooh.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
Oh, look at
that.
Look at that.
But until then, we'll see. We'll wait. We'll wait our turn. I sent the official permission slip in. We'll see if it gets granted.
All right, trying to be Big J.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a nice little cleanup there for the live watch along.
Myers is actually on deck. I couldn't count. All right, Myers will be the last batter.
There you go.
Last hope for the Reds.
Welcome to the show, baby. This is opening day in Cincinnati.
You know, maybe Tito just said, you know what, I don't want him to be in those pressure spots, 2 runners on base, a guy that hits lefties well. I'd rather him just, be down 3 runs, 2 outs in the 9th, really nothing to lose. Just give him an ease into Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Big J is journalism, just to clarify, chat. Want to make sure. Journalism.
I've never considered it being something different. And now I'm sitting here trying to go through all the things it could mean. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Is Dane great? A great Dane. Yes, Dane is a great Dane versus left-handed pitching. Maybe not Aroldis Chapman. What? The Reds out of challenges?
No, they have both.
No, didn't they win their?
It says it in it actually shows you how many challenges you have left from an ABS perspective right next to the logo.
Oh yeah, you're right. That 2-0 pitch sort of looked like a ball. I mean, I guess I don't know.
We got to save it.
Feel like
we're saving that actually. If you think.
Well, maybe if you don't get on base, the game's
kidding,
over.
Nick. It's not over. That was a joke, of course. The game's over. Sunfield. Ooh.
All right. Well, it's the ball game.
All right, folks. You know the drill.
Bench to bench. Change into the air to deep right field. Back goes Valenti. It's a save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. He scored. Oh, my God. You believe
bench is tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in four straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McLain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the wall. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Reds win. Line into right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Round ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, Nick. 3-0. Sounds like we went to the pitch, my friend. We went and watched some soccer, and unfortunately, it was opening day in Cincinnati for baseball. Reds fall to the Boston Red Sox. I'm going to hold true to what was said pregame, and that was I'm not going to put too much stock in today's game when it comes to an offensive output because they did go against Garrett Crochet. He's a very good arm. And to be completely honest, Nick, they had chances. And unfortunately, they didn't get the big hit that they needed. And whenever you face a good arm, you only get so many of those chances. They don't come around all that often. And I felt like, for the most part, there were some good things. So tough because it's opening day. Tough because you get shut out. But ultimately, push comes to shove, it's certainly not a game I would expect the Reds to win more times than not based off the matchup. And it does feel like Groundhog's Day a bit, though, I must admit, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we had pretty low expectations for this game coming in. I think the thing that stinks is that Andrew Abbott pitched so well, and it feels like, oh, you wasted a really good start. And it's just one of those things, you don't want to waste good starts, for a team that right now is, a little thinner. Certainly with starting pitching, and no one was. I wasn't expecting the Reds to win today, but also wasn't expecting Andrew Abbott to throw 6 shutout innings today. So I think that's probably the only thing that really, I guess, stings the most about this game today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I felt like there were some good at bats though. Like I don't want to get too deep into this before we kind of get started, but I do think there was some good at bats. We'll talk through all those things, and at like the better matchup theoretically still won out. But maybe what's the most damning is just how good Andrew Abbott was, which ultimately I guess it's weird because you'd almost feel maybe a little bit better if you went out and you lost 5-2, like I was kind of saying there in the 9th inning. It's a weird way to look at it, but you still lose by 3. But you don't get shut out. Maybe you get a couple big hits. Maybe you hit a home run, and ultimately Andrew Abbott doesn't get rocked like he was getting in spring training, but he also doesn't have a unbelievable outing like he performed today. So, kind of trying to stay glass half full here on opening day, but I do understand the pessimistic viewpoint that some are probably going to have, which is, back to the same old offense that can't do anything. Which, I don't know, it just doesn't seem totally fair. But as always, Nick, we'll stick to the rundown the best we can. We have the box score presented by Sharefax Credit Union.
Yeah,
friend.
Yeah, box score recap is presented by Sharefax Credit Union. Sharefax is rooted right here in Cincinnati with 9 branches across the city. They're a not-for-profit financial institution, which means they're owned by their members. So instead of profits going to shareholders, they're returned to you through lower fees, better rates, and all the traditional banking options you'd expect. Right now, Sharefax has an auto loan promotion. You can get 1.5% off your qualified rate when you refinance your vehicle, and your first payment isn't due for 90 days. Loans are subject to membership and credit approval, and restrictions may apply. For full terms and conditions, visit sharefax.org, apply online, or give them a call at 513-753-2440. All right, Reds taking on the Boston Red Sox, game 1 of 162. Andrew Abbott against Garrett Crochet. Andrew Abbott, the first Reds left-handed starter to start on opening day since John Smiley in 1997. Andrew Abbott pitched around 5 base runners over the first 3 innings, but Abbott really settled in. He retired 7 in a row, but then he would give up back-to-back singles in the 5th. He then struck out both Trevor Story and Jarren Duran to get out of the inning, came back out in the 6th to a 1-2-3 inning, finished off the day by striking out Wilyer Abreu. Final line for Andrew Abbott, 6 innings, 7 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Reds offense did not get much going off of Garrett Crochet. Sal Stewart doubled to lead off the 2nd, but he did not move from there. Marte struck out after a steer walk to end the inning. Sal Stewart, the youngest Reds player to hit cleanup since Clyde Vollmer in 1942. Sal also got drilled on his left wrist on a 110-mile-per-hour comebacker off the bat of Roman Anthony, but he would finish the day 3 for 4. The Reds' best chance off Crochet came in the 6th. Matt McLain walked with 1 out, and that was followed by singles by Elly De La Cruz and Sal Stewart, but Eugenio Suarez and Spencer Steer struck out to end the inning. Final line for Garrett Crochet, 6 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Pierce Johnson made his Reds debut coming in to relieve Abbott in the 7th. He gave up a leadoff double that came around to score the first run of the game. And then Connor Phillips would end up giving up 2 more runs in the 9th to kind of put this game away. Reds fall 3-0. Reds 0-1 on the young season.
And it's the QC Kinetics deep drive of the day. And, of course, it came off the bat of Sal Stewart. He was one of the few folks, if maybe the only person that you felt great about at the plate today. And it would be a double. Why? Because, well, we didn't have quite the deep drive, did we? The line drive to left center. 109 off the bat, 331 feet, and ultimately the win probability for your Reds at the time, believe it or not, was 61%. And we all know that wind up being 0%. Deep Drive of the Day, sponsored by QC Kinetics. If knee pain or shoulder pain is slowing you down Whether it's on the golf course, the pickleball court, or even the gym, it might be time to talk to the care team at QC Kinetics in Cincinnati about regenerative medicine options. QC Kinetics takes a different approach, focusing on treatments designed to help your body heal and recover. They're conveniently located in Liberty Township, right across from Lakota East. See what the team at QC Kinetics is all about. Visit qckinetics.com, or you can call them at 513-655-3356. Listen, I also want to say, for those that are wondering right now, perhaps what happened to DSC. Well, the truth is, I'll give you a quick little opening day story about our good friends, John and his team at DSC. They quite honestly were so philanthropic at the beginning of this show. I got an email from John when we first started. He had heard that Nick was kind of part-time. He was like, hey, what would it take for Nick to become full-time? And I was like, I sent this guy like literally a one-line email thinking that this was a pipe dream. Sent him back the email and was like, yeah, this is probably what it would take, blah, blah, blah. Literally 2 days later, he said, done deal, let's make it happen, and the rest is history. So we have a lot of thanks to give to John and his team at DSC, but the truth is that, used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales more times than not might not make sense for the vast majority of the people that are in the chat, but you never know. Maybe they'll be back better than ever at some point, but I just want to make sure people understand that, they're still great friends, and perhaps we'll meet again if needed. Let's talk about it. Here we are, Reds offense. It felt like, Nick, I had mentioned they had some good at-bats. I think that there was a few opportunities that existed. For instance, one with the opportunity with Noelvi Marte, came up with runner in scoring position. You then fast forward. Eugenio Suarez had multiple opportunities, but maybe the biggest one was obviously with the bases loaded, and then Spencer Steer with 2 outs winds up striking out as well. I felt like out of all of those at bats, Spencer Steers was the best. I thought he laid off some really, really good pitches, and then Crochet made an excellent pitch with the bases loaded, 3-2, 2 outs, with an off-speed pitch that you can't expect many hitters to do much with. So, as much as we want to get upset about maybe the outlook of what the scoreboard indicated, which was 0 runs, I thought that there were some good things. There were some good at bats. McLain obviously reaches base. Elly finds a way to kind of keep his hands inside the ball and puts a ball into center field to kind of get things going. Sal Stewart has an excellent day at the plate. And, we have some holes towards maybe the bottom part of the lineup. I thought, Tyler Stevenson looked pretty good. So it wasn't an abysmal performance, even though maybe the result was what some would deem as abysmal. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Crochet is really, really good. You weren't expecting a whole lot. Obviously, Sal Stewart looked incredible. I mean, 3 hits, 2 doubles. I mean, you can't have a much better season debut than that. But Elly had the only other hit. That was it. Those 4 hits were the Reds' total. There were some walks, as you mentioned, some pretty good at bats. But yeah, just not a whole lot. It's they had a couple chances, but it's hard if you're not going to get a lot of base runners. I mean, when you only have 7 base runners in a game, you're just going to struggle to score runs, and that's the case. And you just hope that this weekend, it's still quality pitchers in Sonny Gray, and then the rookie that the Red Sox are the really talented left-handed rookie they're bringing out on Sunday, that you can have a little bit better offensive performance. But it's just always going to be tough here on opening day.
What wasn't tough was the ability to watch Andrew Abbott. I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams could have expected to get what we got. And I know that everyone, it's just crazy to sit here and we continue to do it. And I understand why we do it, but each year it's kind of like we're waiting for we're waiting for something to maybe not go well for Andrew Abbott, and he's done nothing but continue to progress and be better and better and better. Last year he's an all-star, even in the pregame show, and I'm glad you stuck up for him, and this is no slight to Craig, but it's just like, there's even this notion that maybe, like, was he the best guy to even give a chance to throw on opening day? And I'm not suggesting that's crazy thought after what happened in spring training, but, I just can't believe that he was capable of putting together the performance after how bad he was in the spring. So I'm optimistic. Like, I guess in a way, I'm usually the toxic one. In a way, if you told me that this is the way that things would shake out today, and that Andrew Abbott wasn't going to have any regression based off what you saw last regular season into this year, even though the spring was what it was, I would have maybe taken it. And I get that you don't want to just automatically hand over a loss, but like that's how important it is for Andrew Abbott to throw well, especially when you have Hunter Green down and Nick Lodolo down. That is a massive, massive thing that you have to pay attention to moving forward, Nick. And Andrew Abbott today delivered the goods, and I don't know how much more impressed you could possibly be with him.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fun with, the whole spring training stats, but I don't know how anyone wasn't at least a little bit alarmed with what happened in spring training. And he absolutely just shut everyone up today. I mean, what an incredible performance. Did the kind of the classic Andrew Abbott, you look up, he's got 4 hits through the first 2 innings, but no one's come across the score. But then he really pitched really well after that. I mean, he retired 7 batters in a row. Got back-to-back strikeouts in big spots. That's not really Andrew Abbott's game, but he was able to do it. Was able to get some swing and misses. So, yeah, I mean, that is a huge development because, I mean, when you're talking about, right now without Lodolo and Green, if Abbott would have, started this year off struggling, I'm not saying he's going to have a bad year, but just say he has a bad April. I mean, it really gets hairy, this season. So, yeah, I mean, you have to really like the performance he's got. Next time out, we think he's probably going to line up against Paul Skeens against the Pirates. I think you're now really feeling good about that matchup, a lineup that is even probably better of a matchup for Abbott. So, yeah, this was a great performance that definitely, in a day that you lose 3-0, it's a massive positive.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway, and it can be the only takeaway because obviously the bullpen, we'll get into that maybe here in just a minute, but the bullpen kind of reared maybe some of the concerns to a small extent of what you can find towards the back end of these games and how much reliability there actually is. But the biggest takeaway today, and the biggest maybe the only real reason to kind of walk into tomorrow with your head held high is the fact that Andrew Abbott looks so good. All right, we have some people to thank here. We have some super chats that I want to get to. I also want to make sure that we mention some folks that have been part of Nutcutter Nation for quite some time here. Member for 29 months, Justin Edgel. Thank you so much for being a supporter of us. Seasons on life support, he says. There's not enough. There's not enough weed. I don't know what he's talking about exactly, but he's talking about there's not enough of that at Woodstock 69 to convince me otherwise. That's the way that most of the fan base, or not most, that's not the right word, that some of the fan base will go. I know there's a little tongue-in-cheek there. Pepper Westwood said, just popping my super chat. There's an emoji there to keep it PG here. For the season, should have paid Schwarber. Yeah, easy to say on the day that he hits a home run, no doubt. I get it. There's going to be second guessing all year long about Schwarber, this, that, and the next. But I just want everybody to know when Eugenio Suarez, he does break through, does some good things for this team, Eugenio wouldn't be around if Schwarber was here. So, you gotta give and take a little bit. Nate Seltzer says, Sal Stewart, Rookie of the Year tickets better have been placed before today. He is a rising star. Hopefully he does not need to hit up QC Kinetics for that 110-mile-an-hour ball off his hand. Catch the ball next time, Big Sal. Yeah, I don't think that you can catch that. By the time the ball was hit and by the time he realized that the ball was coming, it literally was on his hand. Also, shout out to Barry. Love him. Love Barry. The fact that he was trying to suggest that there's a meaty part of your body that you can absorb a 110-mile-an-hour ball to, I don't know what part of the body he's talking about, because I'm looking down here at my hand and wrist. I can find a lot of other areas, Nick, that you'd like to get hit. But you know what? Give Sal Stewart credit. He stayed in there. He's ready to go. Were you concerned that he was just toughing it out and definitely was not okay at all? And then all of a sudden he kind of comes up again, gets another hit, and you're like, all right. I mean, maybe he's fine.
Yeah, no, I thought for sure. I was like, ugh. I mean, he's a tough dude, and I was like, is he's just staying in there? Just was like, I'm not letting someone take my spot. I earned this spot. So yeah, I was definitely concerned, but then obviously, he swings the bat well the rest of the day, and makes you feel better about that. But yeah, Sal Stewart, I guess, is I think is the next guy on the rundown. So maybe we'll just jump to 988 real quick first.
Definitely. 988 might be
All
a good way to go.
A day like today, always a good day. We want to remind you that you can call or text 988 anytime, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health, whether it's an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between. It's a 100% secure and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay.
All right. I said we stay on Sal Stewart. Why not? I thought maybe we were putting a little too much stock into Sal Stewart. We were, I guess, in a way, maybe putting too much impact or too much hype around the impact that he could possibly make for this team, especially for somebody that hasn't really proved himself. But I think it's safe to say, based off what we saw towards the back end of last year, what he's done in the minor leagues, because that's another thing that's important to note. This kid has hit his whole entire time he's been in the system. It's not like this guy came out of left field and all of a sudden you're like, who is this? Oh my gosh, he's playing great. I don't know if there's been a better solid major league prospect that's just gonna hit than he has. Yes, I got excited about Elly. Yes, I got excited about Matt McLain. Sure, Reese Hines there for a minute looked like he was the real deal. Christian Encarnacion Strand for a second we were all excited about. But those guys all had deficiencies in certain areas that we were pretty concerned about. Sal Stewart really didn't have much of that. And now you find yourself wondering if he's just going to be the workload guy, even though he's, a first-year rookie player.
Yeah, I mean, this guy raked at every level last year, raked when he got to the big leagues, raked in spring training. I mean, the more this just goes on, the more it's just like, yeah, this guy is an absolute star. And he certainly feels like it. You should try not to go too far because, like, you want to give Sal some grace here, too. Like, if he, struggles a little bit because he's still incredibly young. I don't really think anyone even really envisioned him being in the big leagues yet at this point. Like, I think we need to remember that. So I'm as excited as I could possibly be. I'm just trying to temper it just because I don't want to put undue expectations. Then if he struggles, people are like, oh, what's going on with Sal Stewart? Okay, well, this is actually what was supposed to happen to him. But yeah, I mean, he absolutely looks the part. I mean, he's just an incredible worker, like him just staying in the game, not even thinking twice about it, like just the way he carries himself. Like, you have to love everything about Sal Stewart. And he feels like right now, I mean, one of the biggest pieces of this team.
Yeah, I think Sal Stewart will quickly, very, very quickly become a fan favorite if he continues to be the player that I think both of us believe that he's going to be. And listen, like, you've always wondered, maybe as a Reds fan, like, why can't we get this guy? Like, why can't this guy just magically come through our system? For the first time in a while, outside of obviously Elly, like, it feels like legitimately the Reds could have like 2, maybe 3 legitimate superstar players in Major League Baseball if things progress the way they possibly can. Another guy that we've talked about time and time again about progressing, and we were all in, and then you had the allegations and also ultimately the suspension, and then you come back from the suspension and you look terrible. You thought maybe he's never going to come back to the big leagues ever again, and then all of a sudden he gets another opportunity and he makes the most of it and he looks awesome. And then you find yourself now in a spot where you're like, well, if it's going to continue to go down the path of these reverse splits and the way that they've continued to look, and I get it's crochet, so I don't, again, want to put too much stock into this, but Marte today did not look all that well, and I think I even sent the joking, half-joking, maybe not joking text to everybody that if I would have known that we were going to go right back to the yellow arm sleeves and the yellow armbands and looking like the Savannah Bananas out there in right field, I might have taken back some of the statements I had about Marte and his ability to be able to play today. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to come through and help, so now there's going to be second guessing for quite some time about any time there's a left-handed pitcher on the mound. Is he or should he even be in the lineup? And I think it's a fair question. And it's unfortunate that you find yourself, Nick, in a spot where you're 24 years old. and you're already kind of maybe starting to get pushed along the lines of some semblance of a platoon situation. But the margins are small, Nick, and you've been preaching this to the choir for quite some time. And yes, I guess ultimately the Reds lost 3-0, but if the bullpen would have done what they maybe were supposed to do there in the ninth, you lose 1-0. This feels significantly different.
Just a very interesting usage of Noelvi Marte today to start him against the lefty and basically leaving Dane Myers on the bench, who, you know, we know has a great track record against left-handed pitching. And then he pitched it for Noelvi Marte with Benson against a right-handed pitcher, which we know that Marte's hit right-handed pitching significantly better. So just like, I think the best argument that you laid out when we did our show during the day before the game was that it was to help Noelvi Marte's confidence. That was the biggest reason why he'd start him. And I think, okay, like I can kind of maybe buy that, but then you pinch hit for him in a 1-0 game with Will Benson. So like, I just really don't understand the treatment, the usage of Marte at all today on opening day. I guess I'm kind of like an explanation. Do you have any explanation for why those series of events happened?
No, it's almost like we got confused as to what basically what the numbers look like, honestly. But that seems impossible to have happen at the big league level. And maybe they just, I don't know. I don't have an answer, Nick. I know it sounds crazy, but like, I just don't even know if I want to go down the path of doing that today. I'd rather just say, well, hopefully we kind of maybe pull back the reins a bit and figure this whole thing out in regards to, you know, when it's appropriate to maybe try to utilize Marte and when it's appropriate to maybe try to pinch hit Benson. Benson hits a home run right there. They obviously look like miracle workers, but yeah, for those that don't know, I mean, Marte has pretty significant splits, and they're reverse splits of all things. So traditionally, you'd like to think that a right-handed hitter would face left-handed pitching and do really, really well against them. But unfortunately for Marte, his left-handed pitching capabilities have not looked all that great. And against right-handers, he actually has looked good. So right-hander comes into the game, and then Marte gets pinch hit for. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to make not much to make out of it other than what it was. I mean, I hate to say that, but that's kind of where we're at. Moving forward, I don't know if you want to get into it. Do you have anything left on Marte before we jump into the bullpen?
No.
Yeah. All right. Bullpen perspective. I said it pregame show. I'll say it again. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I have some concerns. Not in the sense that I feel like that it might not be able to get sorted out at some point, but it definitely feels like there's a chance that late in games there's going to be question marks on who the best arm is, whether that's Ashcraft. Didn't look very good in the spring. Connor Phillips looked pretty good his last few outings left in the spring. Connor Phillips obviously today wasn't capable of getting the job done. Pierce Johnson wasn't capable of getting the job done. However you want to look at the job, right? Like these guys are going to give up runs, but they get magnified, unfortunately, in these low 1-0, 2-0 score type games. So I mean, the staff as a whole, Abbott, unbelievably good. But the truth is that the Reds staff in totality gave up 3 runs to the Boston Red Sox on opening day. That's a great 9 innings of baseball, defensively and pitching. So again, I don't want to make a whole big to-do about the bullpen quite yet, but it is going to be interesting moving forward on who gets these kind of what I would call leverage situations. And Sam Moll, to your point, Nick, did look good, continued to look good enough to get some outs today, so maybe that's a positive spin to put on it.
Yeah, I'd say Moll and Ashcraft were probably the positive spins. Moll looked great this spring, so it was good to see him just carry that over, retire all 3 batters he faced. Ashcraft did not look good this spring, other than a walk. I mean, he looked good tonight, was pumping in gas. Pierce Johnson, look, he just gave up a leadoff double, and the run came around to score. Like, it is what it is. He's a good pitcher. He's not a dominant pitcher. I would say Connor Phillips was probably the most disappointing today. I mean, the fact that he came in, gave up 2 hits and a walk, those were 2 runs. It was still a 1-0 game, and really just kind of made it almost impossible to have any chance of coming back against Ashcraft. So Phillips, I said earlier today, probably one of the I don't know, top 5 or 6 like biggest keys to the season is can like Phillips, kind of like Sal Stewart, can he jump into a role where he's not just a good player, but one of the best players on this team in their position. And again, it's one game from Connor Phillips, but not a good start to the season for him.
No, and I would also say too, to be fair to Connor Phillips, like I don't think there was like too many great swings against him either. I felt like the first hit he had given up was really more or less just like a very fortunate seeing eye single that just came off the end of the bat. And when you throw that hard, Nick, sometimes I think that perhaps the exit velo at times maybe is a little bit better than others, which I guess at the end of the day, that's the goal of pitching, is to not let him hit it hard. So that's the oxymoronic thing when you throw hard. But the issue ultimately will come down to the way in which Tito wants to use these guys moving forward, who he trusts, who he puts in leverage situations. Obviously, maybe the two highest leverage arms that he's going to go to are Santillan and Pagan. Those guys obviously didn't take the ball, which is kind of interesting, I guess. I don't know how you feel about that, but it's like in a one-run game, ultimately you got the top of the 9th inning, you got a chance to walk it off in the bottom. You have an off day on
tomorrow.
Friday. Yeah. Why not throw Emilio Pagan, or why not throw maybe Santillan if you think that those are legitimately the two best arms that you have? But ultimately the Reds scored 0 runs, so maybe it wouldn't have mattered. But those are legitimate questions, like why, and maybe you want to give Connor Phillips, like you want him to get thrusted into a spot where you want him to know that you trust him in these situations. But let's face it, over the course of 162. These guys are going to find opportunities that are important no matter what. I mean, they just are. I mean, last year we talked about it. Guys like Brent Suter, right, were there for a certain portion of the season. He was coming into high leverage situations. So you're going to have to rely on everybody at some point. And unfortunately today the bullpen wasn't perfect. And when your offense isn't capable of maybe putting a lot of pressure on the opposing team, and you leave it to the staff to continue to try to help keep you in it, at some point there's too much pressure there, and the whole dam breaks, because you can't continue to rely on your staff to help you win games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that Tito's thinking's probably, like both those guys looked worn down at the end of last year, so I'm not going to throw them out on opening day in a spot where, our chances are slim. Aroldis Chapman's a really good closer. Even though we're only down 1-0, our chances of scoring when we're past the heart of the order is probably pretty slim. So I don't have an issue with that. I understand like the whole, we have a day off tomorrow, go and get these guys out there. Well, with both of those guys, they definitely did look worn down at the end of the year. And especially in Pagan's case, I think you have to be careful with him. And I think you have enough options in this bullpen that you shouldn't be pushing him 3, 4, 5 days in a row if he's, doesn't need to be pushed. The whole season, certainly does matter. And you don't want to go too hard early and then not have him late in the year.
Yeah, no, that's fair. An opening day, for the most part, I think is certainly just so much more magnified than any other game throughout the regular season, besides the fact that maybe the last, call it, handful of games that could come down to whether or not you make the postseason or you don't, when everybody's maybe right back engaged into what you would call significant, meaningful playoff baseball type situations. But you move on. You obviously have an off day tomorrow on Friday. You play again on Saturday, and you get a chance to try to rectify it. We've said it time and time again, and I know people are going to hate me for saying it, but you got to find a way. You got to find a way to at least win one now. You don't want to get swept on the opening series of the year, but you find a way to at least win one, and then you have a chance to maybe steal one on getaway day for the Red Sox, and you find a way to win the series after dropping the first one. Something in which, in years past, they've really had a hard time doing. So maybe this will be a turn. We're turning over a new leaf this year. You had mentioned it. You want to put a positive spin on it. I don't want to steal your thunder, but you had said, hey, we've done this show 3 times. The 2 times that the Reds have won on opening day, we were disappointed at the end of the year, and the one time that they didn't. No. Go ahead.
No. We've done. This is the 4th year. The Reds are now 1-3 on opening day.
Correct.
The only win was the Nick Martini game, and that was a sub 500 year. The other 2 years they lost and had winning seasons both of those years.
Yes, and last year, obviously, most notably, thanks mostly for the Mets, but we did make the postseason, even though that kind of feels gross at times, considering that they didn't do a whole lot when they got there, and they kind of were handed the fact that they got there. But nonetheless, we'll take it. I'll take the fact they made the postseason. I'll keep saying they made the postseason. Why not? Final parting thoughts from opening day, I guess, before we get into I guess the schedule and the look arounds of Reds MILB, and then obviously we have what's next.
All right, Reds MILB this year. Give me a second here. I apologize. Reds MILB this year presented by 78 Cigars. Cincinnati legend Anthony Munoz has a new venture, and we are fired up to partner with it here at Chatterbox Reds. Introducing 78 Cigars, a premium cigar line from the Hall of Famer himself. If you love great cigars and Cincinnati football history, this is the perfect combination. You can grab 78 Cigars right now at both Montgomery Inn locations or over at Creekside Cigar Company. You can also check them out online. Just head to anthonymunoz.com, click on the 78 Cigars page, and learn more or place your order today. That's 78 Cigars from the greatest offensive lineman to ever do it, Anthony Munoz. Louisville Bats, they actually start their season tomorrow night. They're at home, 7:15 against Omaha. A lot of really talented players on that roster. So if you're in the Louisville area, head down to that game. You might see some quality players. Let us know your scouting reports. Everyone else starts next week. Chattanooga starts next Friday. Dayton starts next Thursday on the road. Daytona starts next Thursday as well. So that is your Reds MILB. And then we play more baseball on Saturday, 4:10. Reds against the Red Sox. Brady Singer against Sonny Gray. Now, Gray, 4.91 ERA this spring. Has a career 4.18 ERA in 5 starts against the Reds. I feel like that's kind of misleading. Reds really beat him around in 1 start. The rest of them have been pretty good. Last year, 5 innings, 1 run. Now, some good numbers, though, for the Reds against Sonny Gray. How about Elly De La Cruz? He's 5 for 11 with 5 extra base hits, a homer, 2 doubles, and 2 triples. Spencer Steer has 2 home runs in 9 at-bats against Sonny Gray. So I would think the Steer's probably in the lineup. And then Suarez has 2 home runs. He is 7 for 13 against Sonny Gray. Brady Singer, he had an interesting spring. He had a really rough first start. Then he had 3 really good starts in a row, but then had to leave one with the blister. He pitched in Milwaukee. He proved that he was healthy, but didn't really pitch all that well in those exhibition games earlier this week. Singer has a career 4.88 ERA against the Red Sox. Last year, he gave up a run over 3 innings in a rain-shortened game. He only got to go 3 innings in that one. But no current Red Sox have a homer off of Brady Singer. They're 21 for 71 overall. As mentioned, 0 home runs. Duran's the only one that's seen him 10 times that'll probably play. He is 3 for 10. So that is up next on Saturday. Hopefully the Reds get a win, get us to 1-1, get us feeling good, and going into a rubber game on Sunday.
Let's hope so. I'm just thankful, like I said before, that baseball exists again. What's funny is like every single year we finally get towards the end, and if we're being completely honest, I think we're spent a little bit, and it's just like, man, I need a break. And then, obviously you're crazy to where a week later you're ready to rock, and I kind of get to where I'm like, oh man, like I need the Reds to do something crazy in the offseason to kind of get me fired up, and then ultimately this offseason I thought maybe that was going to be Schwarber, and Schwarber falls through, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what's left? What options are even left? And then they get Eugenio Suarez, and it looks like, all right, we got a little bit of life here, but it's just like a drug, man. I tell you what, as soon as I see the green grass, as soon as I seen Bob Costas reading an opening monologue for the Cincinnati Reds on opening day, are you kidding me, man? All the drone shots flying through the power stacks as we sat there and watched the national anthem get sang. I tell you what, there's not a whole lot of things that really just completely change my mood as fast as me and the sight of baseball yet again. I don't know if it's the promise of warm weather around the corner. I don't know if it's just all of the memories as a kid running around in the backyard playing wiffle ball or hanging out with your buddies or seeing the park, like I said before on X, about maybe the first time you ever seen a Major League Park and you were, however many years old, and you just couldn't believe the size and just the mass of the field. That takes me back, and I think for the vast majority of the people that enjoy this show and consume this show, I would marinate in that for a couple days rather than worry about what Eugenio Suarez looks like, or the fact that we were incapable of scoring a run on opening day. The truth is that last year, we had a guy that nobody even knew was maybe going to throw the ball ever again for the Cincinnati Reds below a save. So it wound up being A-okay at the end of the year. So we'll see if we can bounce back. We'll be back, obviously, better than ever yet again in the 9th inning of the next one. For the schedule, for those that are wondering, we obviously have myself, we have Nick, we have Mike, we have Craig, and we have Greg, all kind of helping us out here as we roll through all 162. If you haven't already, and I assume most people here aren't new to the show, but if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the stream in and of itself, and then also from a podcast perspective, this has maybe some semblance of some of the same type of dialogue that myself and Nick have, but it has so many other nuggets that you probably would enjoy if you do not consume the podcast form. I would highly suggest downloading the podcast on whatever app that you consume podcasts on. Wake up in the morning. It's there every single day because Nick's a crazy man, stays up till the wee hours of every single night to make sure that they're done, ready to go. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that makes this whole thing go, and we're glad we're back. We're glad to see all of you back, and Nick, I'm glad to see you again. I've been gone for quite some time. Thank you for holding the fort down. You guys, all of you have done an amazing job of keeping up with Reds content, but wouldn't be able to do it without you. Wouldn't be able to do it without you. You're a one-man wrecking crew. You're very much appreciated by not only us at Chatterbox, but hopefully a lot of people out there that are looking for Reds fixes, and you provide it in a fair and honest way and always prepared. And even though you might catch some flack for the fact that Dane Myers wasn't in the opening day lineup, sometimes you deserve your kudos and your flowers, so I'll give them to you right now. It appears as if maybe that would have been a good idea. We'll see if that changes as we move forward with Tito. There's some news and nuggets I want to let everybody know. Yes, I think the stream at times was lagging. We'll figure all that out. The bottom ticker, we need a new font. There's just some things. There's some things we'll clean up. All right. So just like the Reds, we'll try to make some adjustments. We'll be back better than ever. We love you. We appreciate you. We couldn't thank you enough. But until next time, go Reds.